Two young models found dead in their downtown LA apartments. Their bodies discovered at two different locations just 48 hours apart. Police are trying to determine if the deaths are related.
Two models, two deaths, two mysteries. Maleesa Mooney found dead in her downtown LA apartment last Tuesday. Just 2 days before that, the body of Nichole Coates was found in her downtown LA apartment.
I'm not going to stop until I find out what happened.
Nichole's mother, Sharon Coates, says her daughter's death just doesn't make sense. Right now, investigators say the cause is undetermined, but Mooney's death has been ruled a homicide. The similarities between the two cases raising suspicions that something criminal may have happened to Coates as well.
Her incident was 5 minutes away. They're both models. They're in the same age bracket. I'm just trying to piece everything together, but I still feel that something fishy is going on.
Both Coates and Mooney were last seen alive on September 7th. Coates was 32 years old. Mooney just weeks away from turning 32. Her family holding a vigil Sunday night.
I love you so much. We would just be celebrating her birthday instead of this, but we're celebrating her life and all the smiles that she gave everyone.
LAPD has been tight-lipped on the Mooney investigation, only saying that she was murdered in her apartment. Investigators still waiting for the medical examiner to determine the cause of her death. The Coates family waiting as well for word of how Nichole died. The pain of not knowing adding to her mother's loss.
I just want to know what took her away from me. I just want to know if it was somebody that did something, somebody came into her apartment. You know, I want to know what happened.
On September 10th, Los Angeles model 32-year-old Nichole Coates was found dead inside of her apartment. However, the case was not investigated as a homicide. Her family, who discovered her body, immediately suspected foul play, describing her face as busted and swollen. In fact, she was only recognizable by her tattoos. On October 24th, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office would officially rule her death as an accidental overdose of cocaine and alcohol.
New information tonight about the death of a model in downtown L.A. 32-year-old Nichole Coates was found dead in her downtown L.A. apartment early last month. Her death came 2 days before another woman, Maleesa Mooney, was found dead just blocks away.
Coates' family and many community members believe these two deaths were connected. However, we now know that Coates' death has been ruled as an accident. The LA County Medical Examiner released the cause, saying it was an accident from cocaine and ethanol toxicity. Can you tell us why it took the medical examiner this long to determine the cause of death?
Yeah, you know, Pat and Juan, these can be very frustrating for the families that are just waiting for answers from really anybody as to exactly what happened here. And, you know, as we talk about this, we told you Maleesa Mooney's death was ruled a homicide pretty early on after her death. And oftentimes that has to do with what is apparent at the crime scene, what they're able to gain from it, what they're able to learn from that crime scene, which oftentimes they don't share with us, but that leads them to be able to rule things one way or another. Now with Nichole Coates, we had been told that there was no obvious sign of death, and that really then leaves it up to the medical examiner to determine what happened here. And in this case, they needed to wait on these toxicology screenings to come back. You know, this is all done from blood or other parts of the body where they're able to run these tests through, but they're not instant. They take time. They have to be sent to a lab. They have to be analyzed and then returned, and then a report has to be put together. So while we did learn Maleesa Mooney's death, cause of death, rather quickly and the manner of her death rather quickly, it did take some time to be able to learn Nichole Coates' cause of death, and that's because we had to wait for all those testing to come back. And now we know that she was in fact not the victim of a homicide that a lot of people had been speculating about, but that her death was accidental.
The only cause of death was listed as cocaine and ethanol toxicity, with the latter being alcohol. The case status remained listed as open without explanation, and the medical examiner's office did not immediately respond to calls seeking clarification. Nichole's mother continues to express anger with authorities for ruling out foul play in her daughter's case. Nichole's death sparked intrigue and local panic when another local model, 31-year-old Maleesa Mooney, was also found deceased inside of her apartment about 3 miles away just 2 days later. According to the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's Office, Maleesa's cause of death has been determined to be homicidal violence, and her manner of death has been listed as a homicide. Her sister would soon reveal that Maleesa was in fact 2 months pregnant with her first child during the time of her murder. However, the LAPD quickly stressed that there was no evidence to suggest that the model's deaths were connected. While Maleesa's death was being probed as a homicide, Nichole's was being handled as a death investigation. Maleesa's family, specifically her sister, has also expressed concerns with how LAPD is handling the case. They say communication has been inconsistent and they have been left to wonder where police are with the investigation. Police would soon reveal that Maleesa had in fact been bound, beaten, gagged, and wedged inside of her own refrigerator. She had suffered blunt force trauma to her head, torso, and arms, indicating the cause of death was homicidal violence. Maleesa's wrists and ankles were bound together, and the bindings were tied to each other behind her back with miscellaneous electronic cords and clothing items. A gag made from an article of clothing was stuffed in her mouth, and toxicology tests also found traces of cocaine and alcohol in Maleesa's system.
We had to get it from the mortuary. The police haven't told us anything.
And that's got to be, so difficult in itself, as there is a killer out there, and not just a killer, there is a brutal murderer out there. I listened to your interview with Nancy Liu, and I wanted to make a certain note about the injuries that you learned of with your sister. 2 broken ankles, but were there other injuries to her hands, arms, and legs? Did she suffer other broken limbs or cuts or bruises? Can you describe what the injuries were?
Head trauma, her whole body damaged, her entire body, from her head to her toes.
To the point where the mortuary said that they had to literally, and I'm quoting, put her back together again?
Yes.
I am so sorry that you and your family are dealing with this. Have the police shared any information about the nature of this killing and what it might say about the killer? Have they asked you for any help in terms of getting them leads to who might have done this?
I've given them, I'm doing my own investigation at this point. I'm giving them everything that I know, to the point that they're like, just back off, and they're not even answering, They called my mom today, but still, again, nothing. They said they can't let us know anything, so nothing.
And no information about a robbery or any other motive that might have led to this?
Well, we know that her phone and laptop was stolen. And when we went to go get her belongings from her apartment, we noticed that the refrigerator was missing, so that was a part of evidence. And we've noticed that her clothes from her Miami trip was still there, her luggage was there, so we took her luggage and stuff. But her dirty clothes were missing. It was random weird things missing. But what I realized that was most important, what we need, was her iPhone and laptop.
Can I ask you, Jordan, we're showing pictures of your sister. She's just absolutely stunning. I mean, it's obvious why she was a model. You're also stunning and beautiful, and I can't help but notice the resemblance between the two of you. You're very famous as a pop singer. Are you concerned at all? Is there any thought with the police that they might have mistaken her for you, that because you're famous, it might have been a fan who was a dangerous fan?
I don't know. My sister wouldn't harm a fly. She'll run from a fly before she harms it, I don't know. She just was so sweet. I don't understand, It just doesn't make sense. I don't know who would do this.
Jordan, what about the pregnancy? Is there any thought that the pregnancy had anything to do with this, given the fact that it was so new? It was maybe even brand new news to the father.
Yeah, this is something my sister wanted, She told my mom, earlier, at the end of August, that she missed her period and stuff. She's excited, giddy about it. And they like to break the news to me late, So I didn't know anything about it. And then when her friend guy that she's dealing with called me. He talked to me and my mom. He told me in her, like, yeah, she was pregnant. We were expecting, and like we were going to go to the doctor and, you know, weigh out our options. But I know that she wanted to keep it. Like, he's devastated. He's heartbroken. But
you know, the police, no matter what, in an incident like that, they will always look first to a boyfriend or a family member. Do you know if they questioned the father of the child?
I don't believe they have questioned him yet either.
Do they know that she was pregnant, the police?
I've given them this information.
And they know who the person is, in case they do want to follow up.
I've given them everything that I know.
Jordan, I'm so incredibly sorry that you have learned this information in this way. I can't imagine what it's like to go through this. My heart goes out to you and your family, as well as the family of Nikki Coates, the other model just a mile away. And I am praying for some resolution for you in this case, and that they catch whoever did this, the monster who did this to your sister. God bless you.
Thank you so much.